With these 5 secrets, I'm about to show you how I was able to overcome a porn addiction that I was battling for years. Not only that, these 5 secrets allowed me to successfully practice NoFap, which turned into semen retention for over 3 years. So if you're having trouble quitting your porn addiction, or you just keep relapsing during NoFap, this is the video for you. So make sure to stay till the end, because these secrets are going to help you finally quit. And the last secret I'm going to talk about is the most important, that I can guarantee will make you quit. Secret number 1. Acknowledge and decide. It sounds a bit cliche, but you've probably heard over the course of your life that the first step to quitting an addiction is to first acknowledge that you're addicted. But honestly, it works. If you've been trying and failing to quit porn, it's way harder to quit if you haven't even acknowledged that there's a problem. Just think about it. Which person is more likely to succeed in quitting? Person A, let's call him Joe. Joe knows he wants to quit porn, but he's not really that serious about it. And he doesn't think it's an issue. He watches it a couple times a week and he doesn't really feel good about doing it, but he thinks that if he really tried, he could quit whenever he wants. He's not really serious about it and doesn't really acknowledge the issues porn is bringing into his life. Person B, let's call him Ray. Ray knows he wants to quit porn and he's serious about it. Although it doesn't feel good to acknowledge he's addicted, he acknowledges it anyway. And because of this, he's humble enough to look for help wherever he can. He's aware of the negative effects of porn, and although he isn't addiction free yet, he's taking active steps to become free. If you didn't pick Ray, I'm sorry, I don't know if I could help you. But if you did pick Ray, you're in the right place. Because once you acknowledge that you have an addiction, you can start to see all the little things that trigger the addiction, which means you can start to change those triggers. But this is only half of the story, because I didn't just say acknowledge, I said to decide. Making the decision to yourself that you're going to overcome your porn addiction may even be more important than acknowledging that you have one. Because once you mentally make the decision to change, that's when changes actually begin happening. So if you're really serious, I honestly recommend you pause this video, get a piece of paper right now, and write to yourself, I, whatever your name is, make the decision on whatever date it is for you to overcome my porn addiction, and sign it with your initials. To some people, this may seem pointless, but once you understand that your subconscious mind is always watching every action you're taking and influencing you to act accordingly, you'll begin to see the psychological importance of this. Breaking an addiction is never easy, so if you can't even take the time required to write down how committed you are to yourself, you might want to question how committed you actually are, because your subconscious mind is questioning it right now. Because you can try to lie to yourself, but your subconscious mind knows the truth. And until your subconscious mind believes you can do it through your conscious decision to do it, nothing will ever change. So, have you acknowledged the situation? And more importantly, have you made the decision? Secret number 2, become informed. Now for me personally, this secret was probably the second most important one for me, because after I learned what porn was doing to my brain, how it was affecting my life, how it was destroying the dopamine receptors in my brain, and my ability to feel pleasure from the simple things in life, how it was warping my view of relationships and preventing me from having healthy, quality relationships with the women in my life. The desire for me to do it decreased significantly, and I was finally able to say no consistently. In fact, a lot of the urges I had completely went away. Now, how you learn about becoming informed is completely up to you. Personally, I watched a documentary called Your Brain on Porn that I'm going to link below in the description and comments. Just keep in mind that I quit porn like around 8 or 9 years ago, which was around the same time I watched this video. So it may not be the most up-to-date information or the most professionally edited video, but it worked for me. And I'm sure if you take the time to watch it, it'll work, if not help, for some of you as well. And personally, I think this works so well because there's just something about knowing the harm you're potentially doing to yourself that, at least for me, really helped me quit. When we cater to our addictions, it's obviously because they just feel so good in the moment, and we can't really see any downsides until it's over or sometime far in the future. So it's easy to just do it in the moment without any repercussions. To make it worse, we all know porn isn't really good for us, but we also don't really know why. And that not knowing why is what gets us into trouble. But once you actually know why porn isn't good for you, it becomes a lot easier to resist because you can no longer make excuses for yourself. And you now know the harm you're doing to yourself. Secret number 3, changed my habits. Remember when I said earlier that when you acknowledge that you have a porn addiction, it's a lot easier to start seeing your triggers? Well, this is extremely valuable because as you're working through overcoming your porn addiction, you should be taking note of your triggers and changing them. Maybe you get the urge a lot when you're home alone, or when you get into bed at night, or possibly when you see certain things on the internet. It's different for everybody, but the solution is universal. And that solution is to figure out when you normally get the urges and stop doing whatever it is that leads to them being triggered. Some triggers are unavoidable, of course, like getting into bed at night, but there's always workarounds. Maybe instead of getting into bed at night and going on your phone or laptop, you replace that and only get into bed when you're about to go to sleep, or turn off certain problem apps when you get into bed. There's infinite ways you can come up with solutions. And to be honest, there's no one size fits all for all of this. The point is that if you can figure out the habits and routines you're doing that are leading towards you getting the urges to watch porn and switch them before you even get the urges, breaking your addiction will come a lot easier compared to continuing to do what you're doing and trying to use your willpower to say no. Using your willpower should be the last line of defense when it comes to breaking your addictions. You want to be on the offense here, and that offense comes from recognizing the patterns that leads to triggers and changing them so you never get those triggers in the first place. As a bonus, you should also be working to replace your negative habits and incorporating positive, high-quality habits in your life, like going to the gym, setting goals, meditating, eating good quality food, etc. You should be incorporating these positive habits because they will make you feel good. And the better you feel about yourself, the more energy you'll have. And the more energy you have, the better chance you'll have of saying no and sticking to it when you're actually triggered, which, if you're using all 5 of these secrets, won't happen often. Now, before I move on to the next point and tell you the 4th secret for quitting porn and staying on semen retention, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more unique, high-quality content that's designed to help you reach your highest potential. Secret number 4, don't make it your identity. You're probably wondering what I mean by this, but I honestly think the #1 reason I was able to stay on NoFap and semen retention for so long was because I didn't even acknowledge that I was on it. It's kind of interesting to look back on it now, but when I finally quit porn and started practicing NoFap and semen retention, I didn't even think about it. I was so preoccupied with all the new things I was incorporating into my life that me quitting porn was just a small aspect of it. One thing I've noticed from a lot of people online in the NoFap and semen retention community is that they tend to count the days. They join communities that are dealing with the same issue. They talk about it a lot and continually watch videos about it. This might even be you, so no offense. But I always just get this image in my head of someone practicing this, waking up and immediately getting out of bed, running to their calendar and circling another day while they're jumping for joy because they made it to 2 weeks. Now obviously it's just a funny image in my head, and if that's you, there's nothing wrong with it. But I do think the overemphasis on counting the days and watching more and more content keeps you from moving forward, because every single day you count is another day that you're attaching this addiction to your identity. To be honest, you want to get to the point that you forget that you're practicing NoFap and semen retention. You don't want to be thinking about this stuff any more than you need to, because the more you think about it, the more chance you have of relapsing. The longer you go without relapsing, and the higher the number gets, the more pressure you're putting on yourself to continue. Imagine if you made it to 200 days and you relapse. You're gonna feel terrible about yourself having to start all over again. You may even feel like there's no point to even starting again, because what happens is you get to 200 days and just relapse again. When you avoid counting the days, joining communities that are struggling with this issue, and watch videos on it every day, while still abstaining from porn, you avoid all of this, and not watching porn becomes somewhat of an identity, but you don't even think about it because it's normal to you. Personally, when I was finally able to quit porn and my urges went away, I didn't even think of porn or NoFap or semen retention at all anymore, even though I was technically still practicing them. This happened because I didn't surround myself with anything that had to do with it during the whole process. This is where you want to get to. Just remember, whether it's habits, people, places, information, anything you give a lot of your energy to and turn into an identity perpetuates itself in your life. Do you really want to perpetuate an identity focused on NoFap? Or do you want to perpetuate an identity that has nothing to do with it so you can move past it while still getting the same benefits? Secret number 5, create a vision. This secret was without a doubt the most important in helping me overcome my porn addiction. You see, what you should really be asking yourself if you want to overcome your porn addiction is why. Why do you want to break your porn addiction? Why do you want to go through the trouble to do it? Because if your why is weak and is just logical, like because it's good for me, or because I want to have a better relationship with women, it's gonna be very hard to overcome it. But if your why makes you feel emotion, inspires you, gets you motivated, and makes you excited, you're gonna have a way easier time in quitting. And in my opinion, this is why I was able to quit and not relapse at all. In the vision that I had created for myself, that I was actively working towards every day, I couldn't see myself achieving it while I was addicted to porn. So in my mind, because I had put so much energy towards this vision and had invested so much emotion towards it, quitting porn almost became easy once I decided to quit for good, because achieving my vision was my #1 priority, and porn was directly opposing it. So my vision, which created my reason why, ended up winning. So if you're not doing anything with your life, if you're not working towards anything of value, if you really want to overcome your porn addiction, you're going to need to create a vision for yourself, or a purpose that gets you up in the morning and is more important than you watching porn. This vision can be about anything. The only requirement is that it gets you excited to work towards it, and you're working every day to achieve it. I'll just be completely vulnerable and say that a part of my vision involved my ideal partner, and I couldn't see her being with me while continuing to have a porn addiction. These two things just weren't compatible. So it's all about priorities. When your overarching priority in your life involves a dream that you're willing to sacrifice anything to create, a porn addiction is the last thing that's gonna stop you from achieving it. And once you find your vision and start working towards it, you'll see how easily you overcome your porn addiction and replace it with something infinitely better. So, now that you know the 5 secrets that are gonna help you overcome your porn addiction and successfully stay on NoFap and semen retention, you're gonna wanna learn the 6 secrets I learned from 3 years of NoFap and semen retention that you'll likely experience as well. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Love you guys. Peace.